resolutions can't technically be expected to begin on New Year's Day, don't you? Since because it's an extension of New Year's Eve, smokers are already on a smoking roll and cannot be expected to stop abruptly on the stroke of midnight with so much nicotine in the system. Also, dieting on New Year's Day isn't a good idea, as you can't eat rationally, but need to be free to consume whatever is necessary, moment by moment, in order to ease your hangover. I think it would be much more sensible if resolutions begin generally on January the 2nd, from the book Bridget Jones' Diary by Helen Fielding. People seem to have a love-hate relationship with the tradition of making New Year's resolutions. However, much of the American population still make New Year's resolutions each year. In fact, an article in Time magazine by Maia Salovitz published January 1st, 2010 reads, about half of all American adults, 48% according to a Marist poll taken in December, say they are at least somewhat likely to make a New Year's resolution this year. Their top vows to stop smoking, exercise more, and lose weight. Today I will be informing you on the past, present, and future of the tradition of making New Year's resolutions. We'll be looking back on the origins of the tradition, how it is practiced today, and finally what the future holds for this tradition. Let's begin by looking in the past. In the book New Year by Theodore H. Gaster, he writes, there is scarcely a people, ancient or modern, savage or civilized, which has not observed it in one form or another. Yet, no other festival has been celebrated on so many different dates or in so many seemingly different ways. According to Dutch historian Jonah Lettering, the New Year has not always begun on January 1st, and it doesn't begin on that date everywhere today. It begins on that date only for cultures who use a 365-day solar calendar. January 1st became the beginning of the New Year in 46 BC, when Julius Caesar developed a calendar that would more accurately reflect the seasons than previous calendars had. The tradition of New Year's resolutions goes all the way back to 153 BC. Janus, the mythical king of early Rome, was placed at the head of the calendar. With two faces, Janus could look back to past events and forward to the future. Janus became an ancient symbol for resolutions, and many Romans looked for forgiveness from enemies and also exchanged gifts before the beginning of each year. The Romans named the first month after Janus, the god of beginnings and the guardian of doors and entrances. He was always depicted with two faces, one on the front of his head and one on the back. Thus he could look backward and forward at the same time. At midnight on December 31st, the Romans managed Janus, looking back at the old year and forward at the new. The Romans began the tradition of exchanging gifts on New Year's Eve by giving one another branches from sacred trees for good fortune. Later, nuts and coins of the god Janus became more common for New Year's gifts. Now that you have a better understanding of the origins of New Year's resolutions, let's now talk about the tradition as it's celebrated today. Oscar Wilde once said, a New Year's resolution is something that goes in one year and out the other. As stated before, the Marist poll taken in December 2009, 48% of adults are likely to make New Year's resolutions. The Marist poll also found that while 65% of people who made a resolution in 2008 kept their promise for at least part of the year, 35% never made it out of the gate. Why do so many resolutions fail? When interviewed in an article published January 4th, 2010 in the Miami Herald by Jack Hardy, goals expert Michael York offers his explanation of failure. He says, the reasons are simple. Most people don't expect to keep a resolution, while others don't know how to set and keep goals. Many other professionals also agree that goal setting is the key to keeping New Year's resolutions. Focus on realistic goals with measurable results, says Dr. Rock Weiss, Director of Community Psychiatry at the University of Maryland Medical Center and Associate Professor of Psychiatry at the University of Maryland School of Medicine. You need to break things down into small steps that you can manage. Not every resolution fails. The statistics may not be on your side for keeping New Year's resolutions, but the benefits that come along with making that resolution are real. Those who make New Year's resolutions are more likely to realize goals than those who don't make resolutions. John Norcross, professor of clinical psychology at the University of Scranton, Pennsylvania, says in an article by Courtney Hutchinson at the ABC News Medical Unit, published December 28, 2009, whether a personal declaration to quit smoking or a reaffirmation of vows that you made on your wedding day, the ever-present desire and will to make change for the better is heartening. It's an American dream to become better, he says, and such a desire embodies the spirit of New Year's resolutions. Norcross also found that those who made public commitment instead of private decision to change before New Year's were generally confident that they would keep their resolution despite a few slips. We're much more likely to succeed in the long run. Finally, let's move on to the future of New Year's resolutions. Yoga instructor Sadie Nardini and her husband got an early start on their New Year's resolution. In December, the New Year couple decided to have sex every day for the entire month. Nardini and her husband, a professional photographer, initially decided to have sex like buddies in the hopes that all activity might help them overcome his and her bad habits, cigarettes and chocolate, respectively. And indeed, the nightly tryst did help. But they also found unexpectedly that frequent sex made them feel better in other ways too. Nardini says they both sleep better and have more energy. And she didn't get a cold and flu all month as she usually does in winter. In fact, the experiment was so successful that the couple plans to have sex in January too. Story by Elizabeth Cohen, CNN senior news correspondent, January 7, 2010. It's hard to say exactly what the future holds for the tradition of making New Year's resolutions. According to USA.gov, some of the top New Year's resolutions include drink less alcohol, lose weight, stop smoking, get a better job, and save money. Since 2005, the trends in New Year's resolutions in America have been shifting from things like spending more time with family and home improvement to things like losing weight and quit smoking. These trends may lead to a healthier population in the future. More people are interested in leaving behind bad habits in the interest of becoming healthier. What will future generations do with New Year's resolutions? With the statistics of failed New Year's resolutions so high, will future generations ultimately give up on this tradition? Or will the New Year's resolution tradition stay strong and continue to evolve? I hope this presentation has given you insight on where New Year's resolutions originated from, how they are practiced today, and what the future could possibly hold to those who continue to make New Year's resolutions. In closing, I would like to leave you with a quote by Ellen Goodman. We spent January 1st walking through our lives, room by room, drawing up a list of things to be done, cracks to be patched. Maybe this year, to balance the list, we ought to walk through the rooms of our lives, not looking for flaws, but for potential. Thank you.